Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to do a little exercise in RXDart today. RXDart's becoming a very important package. It's a very big package with a ton of features, and we're not going to even talk about most of them today. But what I wanted to do is just introduce the different kinds of streams that RXDart offers and the behavioral advantages they offer over a stream controller in Dart. And so we're going to do this in the context of an application that'll look like this. And this application is going to read Sonnet 64 by William Shakespeare. It will read a line, it will wait 4.5 seconds, and then it will read another line. It'll have 4 different tabs, each one controlled by a different kind of stream controller. One is the standard Dart stream controller, one is a behavior subject, one is a publish subject, and one is a replay subject. And we'll use this to demonstrate the differences between those 4. Why Sonnet 64? Patrick Stewart was on Twitter throughout most of Sir Patrick Stewart throughout most of COVID reading a daily sonnet, and he got to number 63 and he had to stop for a while for a project. So we're going to fill in for Captain Picard today, which is pretty pretentious of us, by building an app that will read the 64th sonnet. Now, if you just want to see the demo, I'm going to put a timestamp down below. You can skip right to that. There's a GitHub repo link at the bottom as well, so you can grab the code, run it yourself. If you want to build this demo app with me, then stick around and we'll do that next. Alright, so I have created a brand new project. I called it RXDart_demo. You can call it whatever you like. Don't call it RXDart by itself because that will conflict with the package, but any variation off that is fine. I don't have it running in the emulator yet. This is left over from my source code, and I just wanted to kind of further walk through what we're going to be building here before we actually start building. And so it's just 2 pages. So this is the landing page. And this has some title text and a button that says engage, which if you are familiar with Star Trek The Next Generation, you will get. But this starts the reading of the sonnet. So you click engage, it communicates to the block, read the first line, wait 4.5 seconds, and then read. And after it tells the block to start, it also does navigate to the reader page so you can see what's going on. So this is the second page. These are the different tabs that use the different kinds of controllers available to read the same text. Each one has this one has a replay. This is the behavior, publish, stream, you get it. So there's only 2 pages to this application here. So we're going to be building this page to get it started. We're going to be building the second page to read it, and then we will be building a block to do all of the back end work. All right, before we actually launch this, let me stop this one here. Before we actually launch this, I want to start in pubspec.yaml, and I want to get the packages that we will be using. And we'll start with Google Fonts. So we'll go to pub.dev, we'll grab the latest version of Google Fonts. That is so that we have an old-timey type look here in our fonts. So I will paste that right after Cupertino icons. There we go. We'll also be using provider for dependency injection. And of course, we'll be using RXDart. So grab that one too. All right, and before I get started, I'm going to go to lib, I'm going to go to main.dart, and I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Take this big block of green out, take this green out, and everything from class my home page down can go. Bing. All right, and then we will take this home out. And let's build that landing screen so that we have something to put inside home here. So if we go to lib, we go to new folder and we do screens. Then I am going to add a new file called launch.dart. And this is going to be a stateful widget because we want to be able to dispose of the streams when we're done. And we're going to pick this widget to be state aware. And when it's disposed, we'll also dispose the streams. So let's do STF and use the shortcut to create a stateful widget, and we will call it launch. And we also need to import material.dart, or Flutter material. Yep. All right, so then we can go back to main. We can just plug in our launch here and make sure that launch is imported. And then I'm going to fire up the emulator, which will give us a blank screen at first, but then we'll be on our way. All right, so there's our app, and it's blank because we don't have a scaffold yet. So let's go to the launch widget that we just created, and let's start to fill in some content there. And so let's replace this container with a column. And that will have some children. And what I want to put in here is the text that we saw and then the button. And so the text is going to come in 2 rows. So let's do one text that says Shakespeare. We'll do, let's see, I'll need to escape the apostrophe there. Shakespeare's sonnets. And then the next will be Sonnet 64. And then we'll want a raised button with a child. That is text that says engage. And let's do an onPress method, and I'm just going to do blank for now, and then I'll hit save so we have something on the screen to look at. Oh, beautiful. All right, so let's wrap our column in a widget, and that will be a scaffold. And we'll replace the child of that with a body. Not a booty, a body. There we go. Looks less crappy. So we want this to be in the middle, so let's wrap the column in a center. And we need some height to this, so we can do that by wrapping our column with a container and giving that container some height, so let's say of 300 pixels. All right, that's better. Now let's add a little bit of splash color to our raised button. So we'll do color. I'm gonna do colors red. And for the text, I'm gonna go inside the text widget and let's make that white. So we'll do style, do a text styles, and we'll have a color property in there, and that'll be colors.white. Let me format that. All right, so we added text style, we added colors, white. Let's put a little bit of space between Sonnet 64 and the button. So let's do a size box, and let's do a height of 80. Not very good. And it's not really necessary for this demonstration, but let's do a style here, and let's do a text style and a font size of 26.0, so it looks like a title. And let's do 15 on this one. Let me save that. There we go. Do style, text style, font size 15.0. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so when we're on press, we want to go to the reading page. So let's create that. So in screens, let's do a new file, and let's do reader.dart, and that's going to be the page that will be displaying the sonnet as it comes out with the different tabs. And we'll create that, and we will make that a stateless widget. So it is class Reader, let's just do read.dart. And that can extend a stateless widget. And we'll need the build method, so we'll let VS Code fill that in for us. And inside here, we want to return a scaffold. And I do want an app bar here, so let's do an app bar. And we'll give it a title, and the title will be a text widget that says Sonnet 64. All right, that will at least give us something to, let me format that, give us something to link this to. So let's go to launch and let's navigate on this press to the read widget. So we just want navigator of context.push. And we want to push a material page route, which will take a builder, which will take a context, and then we can fat arrow over to read. I think I got crazy with the parentheses in there. There we go. Open, close, 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 semicolon. All right, let's give that a shot. So there we go. It takes us here. We can go back. Let's change the color of that header. So let's go to main.dart, and let's just go to our primary swatch and go from blue to red. Why? Because I want to. There we go. Okay, so let's add some tabs to our app bar. And so we will want to go to the bottom property. And here we're going to want to add a tab bar. I'm going to give it some tabs. And each one will take a widget, so we'll give it a tab. And we'll just do text for our labels. So we'll do stream. And let's copy that 3 more times because we're going to have 4 tabs. So we'll have, first one will be the stream. The second one, that'll just be the RXDart stream. Then we'll do a publish subject, which is from RXDart. And then we'll do a behavior. And then the last one will be replay. Meant that to be replay. And we're going to get a nice error there because we don't have a tab bar view or a tab controller. So let's wrap the scaffold. We'll address the controller first. So in this needs to be a default tab controller. And we need to tell it the length. This is the number of tabs that we need, so we'll say 4. That might clear the error. Nah. We still have to do a tab bar view. So in our body, so let's find that. So we've got our app bar here, and then we can start body. Let's do our tab bar view. And that will take children. And of course, we'll need 4 of those. So we'll do a scaffold with a body. And let's just do text. I'm just going to put 1 in there for now. I'm going to do a comma, and then I'm going to copy this 3 more times. All right, that will just clear our errors. We should have a working tab controller at this point, and we do. All right, so let's give ourselves kind of a templated context for each one of these tabs. So if we come down below the default tab controller, but still inside the class, so after this parenthesis and then this bracket, I'm going to build a tab body function, and I'm going to take in a string for a description. And I'm going to return a list view with some children. And first I want to put the description. So this is going to be a little blurb about what a published subject is, or a behavior subject, depending on which tab you have clicked. So let's put a sized box after that and give it a little space. Let's say a height of 20. And so I'm going to actually sub these out here. So let's take the scaffolds up here and put tab body. My description. So let's just do the first one here, and then we can see what we're building. And then I'm going to do a divider. Need a comma there. And then I'm going to do my text with my Sonnet text. So let's do my Sonnet text, at least for now, and then we'll add a style. All right, so we'll add a style here, and this is where I want to bring in Google Fonts. So we'll bring in Google Fonts, let the import happen. And the font that I want to use is IM English. Like that. And I want to make it a little bigger than standard. So let's add a text style. Font size is 22.0. So there we go. We get that nice scripty look. A little bigger than standard text. All right, then, so for the description up here for the first tab, I'm just going to put standard Dart stream controller. And I guess I should have copied this instead of the one with the placeholder in there, but that way we get the tab body. And then what I'm going to do for each one of the RXDart is I'm going to go to the documentation and just copy it right out of there. So I'm going to do, let's see, stream. No, let's do publish subject. See if that brings up RXDart. Let's do RXDart as well. Good old Google. So I am going to take this right out of publish subject that I get. So I'm on pub.dev documentation. I am going to put this in this slot because this is where our publish subject goes. Then I'm going to go over here on the left side, grab behavior subject. You certainly don't have to do this if you don't want to. Right there. And then for replay subject, we'll go down here, find replay subject. And this will just kind of help us match what's going on the screen, hopefully with the description from the documentation. And maybe a little padding around the whole thing. So let's add that to the tab bar view. I'm going to wrap that with padding, and let's try 8. Yeah, maybe more like 15. Yeah, it's a little better. Good. All right, so I think it is time to build a block. So let's go to lib and let's go to a new folder. Let's go to blocks and let's build all of our backend logic in a file that we are going to call reader_block.dart. And this will be a class called reader block. And up top, we want to declare our variables. So what we're going to need is we're going to want a stream of each kind. So let's do a final, which we'll call _dartstream. And we will set that equal to a stream controller of type string. Bring in Dart async, and then we will do a publish one here. So we'll do underscore publish stream, and we will set that equal to a publish subject of type string. And we'll need to bring in RXDart at this point. There we go. And then the next will be a behavior subject. So we'll make a final behavior stream. And that is a behavior subject of type string. And then the last is a replay. So we'll do replay stream. And you guessed it, replay subject. Shockingly also of type string. Good. So those are our 4 streams to feed to each one of these. So let's also, before we forget, let's create a dispose method because we want to be able to dispose of these streams when we're done with them. And let's just close each one. Dart stream.close. Publish stream.close. Behavior stream.close. And replay. And we will call this from our launch widget, and we'll put it in our onDispose method. So when that widget is disposed of, it will also dispose of all of the streams that we have created in this block. Now, when we click there we go. When we click engage, we want to fire off the reading of our document. So we want a function in here that is going to do most of the heavy lifting for us there. So we'll call that start reading. And we're going to want to do a number of things here. We are going to want to read the file. We are going to want to cycle through each line of that file, and we're going to want to update each of these 4 streams for every line. And so let's start with reading the file. So the file I have included a link to at the bottom here. I'm going to store it in a folder called assets. So I'm going to create a new folder in my root called assets. So go ahead and copy that into assets. And let's go back to our block. So to read that in, let's do let's set a variable called contents. And that's going to be equal to an await. This is an asynchronous operation. So let's put the async keyword up here in our start reading. And let's do file. And we want to do our file path. And our file path, we can just come over here and copy the whole path and stick it in between quotation marks and paste. So we're going to give that a physical location. That is the way this file read works. We could bring in the path provider package and copy it to a location that Android and iOS would know where it is from our assets folder, but we don't have to bother with that. We can just use a physical location for this as it is. So I'm going to bring in Dart.io. So when you go to file and you go to try to auto import, it's going to try to do Dart HTML. Bring in Dart.io is actually the one you want. So that may be your second choice. After the file, we want to wrap around and we want to do open read. We want to transform it into UTF-8.decoder. And that is going to need Dart convert. So we come up to the top here and put import Dart convert. And then lastly, we want to transform this using dot transform, using line splitter. So let's bring in line splitter. And we will cast that to a list. So this, as you can see from the contents here, will give us a list of strings. Now, if we come down here and we create a for loop, and we go through each one of those strings in contents, then we can use this loop to populate each one of our streams and also print the line to the console so we can see that it's working. So maybe we should start there. Let's go print L. And if we come back out to our launch and in front of our navigator, launch reader, we can call in that block and start it up. So how are we going to call that block? So this would be a great place for provider so that we can feed this block to our widget tree and we can call it from launch and we can read it from read, and it will all be one instance of the block. So let's go to main.dart and let's wrap our material app with a widget. And that will be a provider widget. And then we want to populate the create property with a context and a fat arrow over to an instance of our reader block. In fact, the only instance that we are going to use throughout this app. We create it here, we pass it down, and we merely reference it thereafter. I need to bring in provider. Okay, so that's set there in main. Let's go back to launch and let's bring that in. As I mentioned, this is where we want to dispose of the streams. And so the way we can go about that is in our launch state, right at the top, we can declare our reader block without actually initializing it. So we'll set up that variable. We'll need to import that. And then here in our build, we can populate it. So our reader block is going to be equal to provider.of context. And we need to bring in provider here too. And we tell it what we're looking for a type, and that is a type reader block. Yep, that should be after the of. There we go. And so we can also add our dispose method here. Let's let the code complete do that. And in here is where we can call reader block.dispose. So when the launch widget is destroyed, all of our streams will also be destroyed as well. So now down here, in place of launch reader, I can call reader block start reading. All right, let's give it a shot. We hit engage, and I see that it is just read through the entire sonnet right here. Good. Now that's kind of what we wanted. We did want it to delay 4.5 seconds in between each line, so let's add that functionality. So after it reads the line, let's come down here and let's do an await future.delayed. And our duration will be milliseconds 4500. So 4.5 seconds. That just seems to be about the pace I read. You can set that slower or faster if you want to. Restart the state, and we can do that again and watch what happens. So we click engage, we look down here, and we see first line, 1, 1000, 2, 1000. There's line 2, 2, 3, 4, half. There's line 3. Good. So now we just want to come in above our print and populate each of the streams. So let's add line to streams. And let's take each one of these. So we've got our Dart stream. And we can add in the L. We've got our publish stream. We can add in the L. That's our line. We've got our behavior stream, and we can add L. You can also be doing sync.add here. Basically, it's the same behavior. And then we'll do replay stream.add. All right, so those streams are there. Then we just need a way to read them out before we close out this block. So let's create some getters, because these are all private variables. And so each one of these is going to be a stream that returns a string. And so we'll do get Dart stream. And I'll do Dart stream.stream, and then I'm just going to copy this 3 more times, and I'm just going to change Dart to publish. Behavior. Replay. All right, so that'll return a string for each. Replay stream basically stores all the values that you add. So you could be adding 5, 6, 7, 8, and whatever you subscribe, you'll get all the past values. You can cap it. You can say, only give them the last 3. But the way we have it set up here, it's only going to pull the latest. There is a property on replay stream called values. So all these regular streams have a property, let's do publish stream here, behavior stream, value, and that will give you the string. So you can draw the string out here in the back end at any point from the stream if you want to. But the replay has values, and that is a list of strings. But if we just pull a stream of strings, we are simply getting the latest value, and we're really not getting the point of replay streams. So to get that, we can add a map. So we can add a stream, and then we can map, and we can map the line. We can go over to the fat arrow value, and we can take our replay stream dot values and join them with a line break in the middle like that. And this, when we go to call our replay stream, is going to give us all the values with a line break in between. So every time we add a value for behavior stream, publish stream, Dart stream, it is overriding the last value, and only the most recent one is available. The replay stream is saving all these adds, but we do have to iterate through them and join them if we want to put them into one single string. Otherwise, if we just call the stream, we're just going to get the latest string from it. All right, so we should be all set there. We just need to actually read this out into our interface. And so let's go back to read.dart. And we just have hard-coded Sonnet text here. We want to wrap this with a stream builder because we are going to be listening to different streams. They're all going to be of type string. And there's going to be different streams, so let's make that a pass-in variable, and let's do that first so we don't have to track all the way to the end of our super long description. So they're all streams of string. And then we can simply say the stream that we pass in here will be the stream. If the when it first starts, there may not be any data here, so let's, in our stream builder, let's say if the snapshot does not have data, we are going to just return an empty container. Or actually, let's return a text that says loading, like that. Otherwise, we're going to return our snapshot data. And let's add this in here. So in our tab body, we now have two parameters. And for the first one, we want to bring in those streams and pass them into this tab body. So to do that, we want to bring in our block. So inside our build method, let's just create a variable. Let's call it reader block. Set that equal to provider of type reader block. Context, and do a little importing there. We need to bring in provider and the reader block. So let's start with the reader block, and then there's provider. And so I'm gonna, in the first tab body, I'm gonna pass reader block dot dart stream, and we'll pass reader block. Let's see, is that publish stream? Yep. Third one is reader block behavior stream. And then lastly, reader block dot replay stream. Well, let's give it a complete restart. All right, let's give this thing a spin. If you've skipped ahead to this part in the reader block, just make sure in the start reading function that you get the actual physical location of your sonnet.txt. So just right click on copy path and put that in there. That is using a not a relative path, an absolute path. So it needs to know where it is in your file system. And then let's go ahead and click engage. That will launch the reader. We go right into the stream and we see the first line of the sonnet. There's the second line. We go over here to publish. We see nothing yet until that loads. If we flip back to stream, we are actually going to get an error. And so this is the first difference between these. All of the RXDart streams are multiple subscriptions. Stream controller is single subscription. So when we come in and we subscribe to the Dart stream subscription, we get to listen once. And if we try to listen a second time, we get an error. Now you can address that. Let's do here in Dart stream. You can do as broadcast stream, and that will allow you multiple subscriptions. So that's a matter of design. If you really have a reason that you would only want one person to, I'm gonna do a hot restart here, one person to listen, then you could use a Dart stream and not set it as a broadcast stream. All right, so let's start that again. We've got our stream, we go to publish subject, we flip back to stream, and it is still working. Now, when we go to publish subject, you'll notice it's loading. It's got a 3 there. I come back and there's nothing there until 4 comes. And that is the point of publish subject. Publish subject does not, when you start to listen, give you past values. You don't get what was there. You get the next value to come down the pipe. So when I flip over here to stream, stream behaves very similar to publish like that. There's nothing here until the next value comes down. When I flip over to behavior subject, a special stream controller that captures the last item that has been added to the controller. So behavior subject will remember the last value and go and get it for you. So this starts out blank, publish until we get a value. Behavior, I can flip here. I can see down in the console that 14 is there. If I go to 14, it's there because it's the last value, and then I still get 15 when it comes along. Oh, that's the end of the sonnet. I should know that. All right, so let's go back and replay that again. All right, so publish doesn't have anything until we see the second line come out. Behavior, the second line is already there, and here comes the third. Let's see what replay is doing, and replay, as we might expect, is tracking all the history of the values that have been added and is giving all of the lines to us. Now, if we were to cap the replay stream, we could do that. And so if I came in here inside the replay subject of the string, I have a property max size. I could limit that to 4. And I don't know if that will apply here. I might have to restart. Oh, that doesn't belong there. So we'll restart that. We'll run again. We'll go to engage. So we've got different values coming here. We go to replay subject, and we've got 1, 2, and we expect, because we've maxed out, that we see no more than 4 here in the replay. And so there's our 4th, and the 5th should come on in a couple of seconds. And so we see the first one goes away, and we only get the last 4, and 2 will disappear, and 6 will come on. All right, so that's kind of a rundown on how those different streams differ from each other. Publish stream and the Dart stream are awfully similar these days. It does say in the documentation that I copied from that publish is exactly like a normal broadcast stream controller, with one exception, that this class is both a stream and a sync. Actually, if you go to Dart stream here in our block, you can access a sync on the normal stream controller. So I don't know that that difference is still true. Certainly they behave very similar in this particular application, the stream and the publish stream. Behavior stream, though, very different in that it does have in memory that last value that you added. So when you come on as a subscriber, you will immediately get the last value. And I tend to use this one a lot in my apps because I do want some value to come out of the stream, and I generally want that to be the last valid behavior that I added. If I'm calling an API, that's whatever the last value I put in is what I want to come out of that stream. And so I use that one a lot. I haven't used replay a whole lot, but you can certainly see potential there for applications like messaging and things that need to save a number of different items in the stream and kind of remember the order that they came in. So that's a quick rundown on the RXDart streams. There is a ton to this package. It is pretty well documented, so get in there and check it out and try it. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.